On this week's Most Craved,
we're taking a look at the upcoming TV slate.
And Henry Rollins is going to carve out my eyes with a knife.
oh,
Jeez. Well, let's get started.
hey guys, welcome to Most Craved. I'm Jenna Busch with Legion of Leia.
I'm Silas Lesnick with ComingSoon.net.
And I'm William Bibbiani with CraveOnline. And hey, we got the great Henry Rollins here today. How you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks.
Awesome. You're the star of a new movie, The Last Heist.
I am.
It's cool.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was fun making it. It's fun being so weird and creepy.
So this is a story about a bank robbery that goes awry because you're a serial killer who happens to be in the bank and becomes diehard, but John McClane is a homicidal maniac.
Right, it's a movie inside a movie. And just a thing which was interesting to me, if you've seen the film, there's, cops and SWAT and bad guys and brother against brother and all this stuff going on. I never met many of those people until the rap party. Because my scenes, I just go through small rooms killing people as I go, collecting eyeballs. And so there's like these huge scenes in this film that I'm a world away from. And so my experience of The Last Heist was like these quiet shoot days with two actors who eventually were killed. And then another day, another few people to be killed. And then I win at the end. And then when I see the film, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of stuff going on. That is like a wave that passed over my head. It was interesting.
That's actually kind of interesting because, I mean, in the film itself, I'm not sure that the Windows killer is aware that all this other stuff is happening.
No, and if he did, he wouldn't care. All he wants is your eyes, And it was a fun film to do. What was really fun? The funnest part was working with Mike Mendez, who's just the director. Great guy, great director, and just an interesting person. It was fun, getting into his vehicle and going,
And he's done a bunch of like really pulpy,
He just one film after another.
Big
I had
Ass
no
Spider
idea.
is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Right, I had no idea how busy he was until I said his name to some people. So I'm doing this film with this guy, Mike Mendez. Like, you're working with him? I'm like, yeah. Wow, he's so cool. I said, I liked him, but just from the meeting. And then when the rubber meets the road, you're working with a guy. He's damn impressive and fun. He's a really fun guy. So.
Did you actually get the whole script? Because I've talked to a lot of actors recently who've only gotten their scenes.
Oh no, they gave me the whole thing. Yeah, I read the whole thing. No, and I've also been in situations, mostly in audition, when they would just give me a page and I have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Some of this stuff is so locked up. Like I auditioned for Walking Dead, and they were like, here's a word, here's another word. We need that word back. It's very secretive. It was for the Negan role. Oh. And they said, when I walked in for the audition, the very nice people, they said, we can't speak to you until you sign this. Yeah. They said, obviously you're going to audition, but until you sign this one last thing, you can't even come in our office. It is what it is. I'm like, you got it. I'm like, great, come on in. And, it's just that they have to keep things under wraps because of social media. If you go home and want, hey, guess what I just did today? They get flanked.
Yeah.
And so a couple of times I've been offered parts and they've just given me a few pages. And you're like, really? I need some context, thank you. And then begrudgingly, they'll send you the rest. But that never happened to me years ago. And now it happens now and then. But when I got The Last Heist, they gave me the whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like what they would have given you from The Walking Dead that would have been a huge spoiler, and it just says, and you killed blank. You killed Daryl. This is the scene where you killed Daryl.
They gave me the and they told me this isn't going to be used in the thing, which actually it was. It was the monologue where he basically tells these people what's up. I'm taking half of your stuff, etc. Because a woman who works at my office, my boss, she actually watched it. She said, I watched the monologue, because she rehearsed with me. She said, I watched your monologue from the guy who actually got the part. I'm like, she was word for word pretty much what you auditioned with.
Weird. How does something like Last Heist come your way?
Sometimes an agent brings me things. Sometimes the director or the production company just emails my management side. Go, hey, we got this thing we love Henry for. Here's a script. And we read it. We read anything. And sometimes you call back and go, hey, we'd like to meet with you. And sometimes you're like, nah, this isn't me. Thanks, though. And I think that came either through an agent. I think that came through the agent. Yeah. And they just basically said, we like Henry for this. Would he read it? I'm like, yeah, sure, of course I'll read it. And so I looked at the part and I said, I like it, but I like it a certain way. And I said, I'd like to meet the director so I can tell him my idea and see how it goes up against his idea of this guy. Because if he wants it to be cookie cutter, I don't need the aggravation. But I had this idea, and so I met Mike, who's amazing. I said, here's my idea. Smiling, doesn't raise his voice, syrupy, just like really just strange and really terrifying in his kindness because it just smothers you. And twist it. And he went, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I said, my man. And we went forward. And then, so the reason I leapt at it was he let me, well, it was kind of his idea too, but he let me do what I thought was, but if he said no, he's going to be loud and using the room, I'm like, I just don't want to be tied into it then. I just don't need it. And so at this point, I make those kind of choices. When I see a film where I can be good in this role, but I hate the vehicle that the role is in. I just don't want to be in this thing. I just politely decline.
I did like, I mean, as a high concept idea as a serial killer versus bank robbers is, I liked that this bank is closing down, and there's a very logical reason why both of these things would happen at this time. It's
just kind of an interesting twist on a fairly well-worn idea of blood and killing or religious fervor leading to violence and deceit and betrayal, which you see with the bank robbers. Then you see so many of the people in the bank are corrupt. Like, how'd you get the code for that? Were you? Yeah. I mean, it's almost Shakespearean. Like, God, you're all filthy. And the only person with redeeming qualities is the nice lady who I cut in front of in line and the old woman who is like, I want my soup. Everyone else in their own way is just completely on the scam.
I'm sure Mike Mendez will appreciate you calling it Shakespearean.
Well, it is what you really yeah, like we're all filthy, and I love that element. You see it towards the end of the film, like there's always someone like me, like the one guy you thought was good, he ends up being one of the worst guys, as far as being part in on the thing and being like a real bad guy. I don't know. It was fun to do. And it's fun working in a film that has a low budget with a guy who knows how to make a low budget film look good. And that's Mike Mendez. Our budget was, tight. And Mike knows the shot he wants. He has a kick-ass crew. Everyone knows what they want to do. The actors came fully ready. Everyone knows they didn't need to rehearse. We just came in, got rehearsed for blocking and went right to work, which is all the budget had time for. There's not a day hey, let's talk about our parts. Like, today's a shoot day, and we have to get this many pages done. Just some fun trivia if you guys care. Later in the film, you'll see me taking out a young woman. That was the last shot of the film. And our guy mushing us along, he said, we have 90 seconds. We need to get one last shot. Just like, you don't have time to reset the shot. Just shoot the ceiling. We need a ceiling shot, a cutaway. And he goes, your shot is that. Go, go, go. And he says, and that's a wrap. And everyone kind of went click and safetied their cameras. And it was like that. And I said, we can't go an extra minute. He goes, folks, it is what it is. Thank you very much for showing up. Please go to makeup to get hosed off because we're all covered in blood. And it is what it is. And thankfully you have a crew and a director who knows how to make that rock. And what I was impressed by I watched the film the other night, and I usually cringe watching myself. I'd rather not. But I was amazed at how stylish the film was and how I just loved a lot of Mike's moves, the way he presents people and makes people just look like towering and badass and like, whoa! I love moments he creates. And you can tell he's a movie buff, but you can tell he's just damn technically proficient.
Well, I think sometimes low budget gives you the sort of the freedom to come up with more creative solutions than just throwing money at something.
Time, you don't have the budget to go big on something. You have to go smart on things.
Yeah.
And I've been in a lot of films for a non-actor. I've been in a lot of movies. And it's the big budget ones where there's a lot of attitude, a lot of people who don't like their jobs. And I found in like the horror genre, There's a underlying fun element. Like, you're going to die. Well, all right, let's do it. And in the bigger films, you're like, I can't come out of my trailer because I have to get my aura read by my aura reader. You're like, really? Let's just do the work, please. And in the lower end of things, it's like the cheap and cheerful vibe. Like, let's have fun. It's not Streetcar Named Desire. We're not Brando, so let's have fun. And the only thing that sticks out in those movies is every once in a while there's an over-serious about themselves actor. Like, do you realize what film you're in? I mean, catering came in a station wagon. It's a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli with your name in Sharpie on it. I've been in films where I walked on the set in my street clothes and they went, you know what? Can you wear that? That's you. And you're like, oh no. And you end up doing your laundry every night because that black t-shirt is covered in blood, but it's torn right there and they need to see it the next day. And I've been in those films and it's cool. You get the work done and you often end up with a cool film. The only drag is there's someone there like, I'm ready for my close-up. Like, pal, that's not this film.
That's awesome.
Well, I guess we should talk about television as well. This has been, I don't know if you're aware at all, but this was a busy week for networks all announcing what's coming up next season.
Well, yeah, this is the time of the year they do it, right? The upfronts are happening. Yeah, everyone's showing their wares.
Everyone's canceling everything.
So you guys are the experts on this. What, in your opinion, are there any cancellations that blow your mind? Like you're going to miss?
Everything I watch got renewed. Even the bad stuff like Shadowhunters. I got real lucky this time.
Well, I mean, A Good Wife, which is like the one non-geek show that I watch, obviously I knew that was coming because they had ended the series, but that was one of the few things that I'm kind of upset about. The rest of it, I don't know, didn't really bother me.
I'm a big Marvel comic book fan, so like they canceled Agent Carter.
Yeah, that's hard.
And there was a series they were developing called Marvel's Most Wanted that they're not moving forward with. But honestly, there's so many shows on now that I'm happy to just have the free time.
I know. I know.
Super. They had a trailer yesterday for the new Star Trek series, which there's nothing in life that makes me more happy than the fact that
so excited.
It was just the logo, though, wasn't it? We didn't actually see anything.
Honestly, it was a terrible. It's a teaser, and it's these really CGI, like almost stock footage of space, and it has a tagline that doesn't really make any sense. Which is the idea that Star Trek's coming in. Brian Fuller, who's the guy that did Hannibal most recently,
and he's bringing Nicholas Meyer with him, who did Wrath of Khan and co-wrote Voyage Home, and then directed Undiscovered Country, the best Star Trek.
Yeah, and what we really got out of the teaser was that it's going to be all new characters. It's not. We're not getting anything sort of rehashed. And I had actually spoken to Gene Roddenberry's son, Rod, who said the same thing. He's like, there are going to be changes. It's going to freak out some fans, but things are going to be a little bit different. So, but I'm actually excited about it.
Super excited.
I mean, that's not even until 2017.
Yeah, no, we've got some time.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
yeah. But I've seen some of the trailers they've been presenting at the upfronts. Jenna Elfman is talking to some sort of CGI furry tooth looking thing.
It's almost like a sitcom female-driven version of Ted in a way.
I was thinking Drop Dead Fred.
Oh yeah, actually, probably that's a much better example.
Yeah, which was also female-driven.
Why?
I don't know. I host a podcast called Cancel Too Soon, in which we review shows that last one season or less. And I'm looking at all these upfronts, and I'm going, going to do an episode on that eventually.
Yep.
You're going to have to do an episode on that. But some of them do look really quite good. The one I was really impressed by the trailer for was Making History.
Right.
From the guys who created the Lego Movie. And it's about two guys who go back in time to the American Revolution, screw it all up, and have to fix it. And it looks really, really, really funny. Like, I'm usually a really harsh critic on comedies. It looks really funny, and I want to see it.
I have to say, though, a lot of the network stuff is just boring me. Like, I feel like with cable and with streaming, where you can do so much stuff that you can't do on network, the network stuff is just, it's getting silly.
Well, they're doing all these adaptations of movies now.
Yeah.
And there's nothing about Lethal Weapon, the series, that looks anywhere near as interesting as Lethal Weapon, the movie, or even like the Training Day series that they're doing.
Yeah.
And then The Exorcist is coming out, and I'm like, why did you even call this The Exorcist? This is just about any exorcism. It doesn't have anything to do with the book.
What do you watch?
What I do is I buy DVDs of shows.
Yeah.
Load them onto the iPad, because I fly all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, really long flights. And so shows that I like, I don't watch them on TV. I'm saving them to get through transatlantic, transpacific flights. So I see everything like Homeland or whatever. I see that like, you know what happened? No, don't tell me anything, because I have to wait 8 months for the thing to come out. And so I watch everything like 100 years later. I like a lot of the Breaking Bads and the Better Call Sauls, in that the acting is often really good, but it's the writing. There's some of the best writing I've ever seen on TV is in the last 10 years, coming from the Showtimes and the HBOs. Like, it's just amazing writing. Like that House of Cards series, just the acting, the writing, it's why I want to watch TV. And I'm older than all of you guys put together. TV when I was young was the Love Boat, Love American Style.
I like Love American Style.
But it was corny compared to what you can watch on TV now and go, wow, that was amazing. Like the first few seasons of West Wing, when Sorkin was like really involved, and every line coming out of everyone's mouth is like, that is just as good as it gets. I enjoy TV for that. But as a kid growing up, when it's like Laugh-In and all this stuff, TV was kind of a joke medium, where you're like, yeah, who wants to be on TV? It's meh. And now TV is amazing. But what you said, where the network stuff is, to me, network is regressing. Yeah. Where I watch some of the network stuff and go like, wow, I don't like it on every level. Like, this is not great acting.
Yeah.
The lighting is really, I don't like how your lighting, everything looks soft. I don't believe any of it. And the writing is just like, who are you hiring? This is really mediocre. And bad writing is fun because you can laugh with it and do your Mystery Science Theater amateur hour version. But mediocre writing, it's not bad enough, not good enough to be bad, and it's not good enough to be really watchable. It's in that middle zone. You're like, I better use this at the gym to get through the treadmill, because I can't watch this if I have any option whatsoever. And I find that on a lot of the network stuff where it's appallingly mediocre.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the stuff that used to be a joke, like a Saturday Night Live sketch, is now turning into an actual show or even an actual movie. So like, when Prison Break is coming back and we're just going to do the same thing again, but we're going to swap the brothers. That feels like an SNL sketch from when Prison Break was on. Or like if you just happen to have Wentworth Miller as a guest, you would have done it. Like, I can't even take it seriously. Like Robert Knepper's in that trailer. And he's like, you were a serial killer. Why are you the hero now? You're a monster.
I never watched Prison Break, but I will say one of the things that I think is neat about television right now is that it's becoming much more of sort of an auteur medium. And I believe the story with Prison Break is that the creator left the show before the last season. So this is sort of he's going to end the series the way he wanted, and it's sort of replacing that last season, which I don't mind the idea of in theory.
I watched it. You should replace that last season.
That last season, I don't know how you can come back from it.
I don't either.
It was such a But 24 Legacy looks good.
Yes, that's true.
I'm down for that.
I'm happy people like the X-Files again. They said it's coming back. They didn't give any specific details at the upfronts, but they say they are working on another series. And
what's the, I'm so bad with names, the woman.
Gillian Anderson?
Gillian Anderson?
Her show, The Fall.
So good.
I haven't watched
that. That is amazing. I mean, you always knew she was a great actress, but you see her in that, you're like, oh, wow. She's really amazing.
Have you watched Hannibal?
No.
You should check it out. It's such a great show. When I watched the first episode when it came out, it's Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter.
Right.
And I had a hard...
Which would keep me from it because I just like the book so much.
That's how I
if you
felt
like the
too, and then I
books,
watched
then
it.
It's
really
much
gonna
closer
like
to the books. I have finally watched it, you guys.
Because those
like-
books, you cannot put them down.
Yeah.
You just go like, I'm canceling, I'm not going into work, I'm just reading this. Those are so great.
And the places it goes to end up becoming so poetic, and yet the visuals in it's
Astounding.
As
Wow, okay.
horrific as anything I've seen in a movie.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
yet
it's
was on
shocking for
television.
network.
I just figured something like that couldn't be good.
It's
You know?
I was the same way, and then I fell in love with it. It's so respectful
Okay.
and it's so smart.
Oh, good then. I got something to check out.
Yeah, they convinced me to watch it, and it's actually
Because
phenomenal.
it's something you would naturally go, nah.
That's what I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Totally
like, there's
worth
no,
it,
I
though.
can't. And it's really, really amazing.
And another one that this Sunday is Preacher, which is one of my favorite comic books ever. And I've seen the pilot. I've seen it like 4 times now, and I keep watching it. And it's one of those things that's really, really hard for me because I love the source material so much, and it's so different. And like, it's almost, if this show was called something else, I would really, really like this show, but I'm having a hard time like reconciling it with my fandom.
I'm really excited to see that.
Anyway, we are out of time, but The Last Heist. Do you know the date on that? What do you?
June something.
Yeah.
June 17th.
June 17th.
Video on demand, some theaters, and it's cool.
Eyeballs.
Tweet us at Most Craved. Let us know what you think about the TV shows and stuff, and check out The Last Heist. It's pretty neat.